Get in control of your finances and maximize your profitability. Sarah here, aka the Business Fixer. First of all, why should you even listen to me? And the reason why you should listen to me is because I genuinely have been in your shoes. I know exactly how it feels when you are scraping money at the end of the month to be able to pay your staff, to be able to pay your office rent, or even just being in a situation where you just don't feel like you've got a handle on your business or even your numbers. So let's talk about how I can potentially help you by giving you some guidance and hints and tips about creating a business budget that will ultimately change the game. Okay, we know that running a small business comes with many challenges, and managing finances is probably one of the biggest. Without a clear budget, cash flow issues, not only can they spiral, but profits can dwindle and decision making becomes reactive rather than strategic. I know from personal experience that I have been in those situations where, I've come across a challenge like struggling with cash flow to be able to pay the bills at the end of the month. And it's then about trying to be reactive, trying to raise additional cash to basically make ends meet. The good news: effective budgeting isn't about restricting growth, it's about enabling it. And ultimately, we all want our businesses to be at their peak performing position. We all want them to be able to grow sustainably. We all want our businesses to be at the maximized profit, but obviously still balancing and ensuring that we give the best client delivery that we can. We need to be making sure that we are really being in a position with our business that we are helping, that we are being of service. But ultimately, your business is not a charity. You are there to make money, but it's about how you make that money that's key. Okay, so a small business budget serves as a financial roadmap. It's outlining the expected income and expenses over a set period. It provides clarity, helping you track where your money is going, identifying cost-saving opportunities, and planning for growth with confidence. Without a structured approach, you are more likely to be in a position of overspending, underinvestment, and you're going to be in unexpected financial shortfalls that are likely to then derail your progress. You could be literally on that path where the business is really starting to grow, it's really starting to move forward, and because you haven't planned financially, you're then literally you are stopped in your tracks. We don't want that to happen. We want your growth to be steady, and it continuously be growing at the right rate. Okay, so a well-planned budget ensures financial stability, supports informed decision making, and allows for that sustainable growth. It can help maximize your profitability by identifying areas where costs can be optimized, whilst also still preparing for those unexpected challenges. Okay, so the first step in building a strong budget is assessing your income sources. So you need to be reviewing your past financial data. That will allow you to establish realistic revenue expectations, right? Now, the one thing that I would say that's really important is, I don't particularly like the word realistic, but I think it's important that you are setting ambitious income targets that drives a higher performance, right? So I tend to actually push my clients to set goals that are higher than what they potentially want to achieve, because the further you push yourself, the more you are likely to reach them. Whereas if you undervalue those goals, and you're not likely to push yourself as hard, and you are likely to then be under that potential goal. So even if you don't fully reach those goals, aiming higher often results in stronger outcomes than setting overly conservative estimates. Okay, so once the revenue is clear, you then need to be listing out your expenses. These fall generally into two categories: your fixed costs, such as rent, salaries, and insurance, which remain consistent, and your variable costs like your marketing and supplies, which can fluctuate based on business activity. Also, you should take into consideration seasonal trends, because they can also potentially affect your budget throughout the year. Okay. We do remember, not all expenses carry equal weight. Separate your essential spending from non-essential expenses, which allows you to prioritize what truly adds value to the business. Now, one of the biggest things that I always feel like I'm banging my head against a brick wall is where businesses do not think that marketing expenses is crucial. It is. Without marketing, you do not have leads, and without leads, you do not have sales, and without sales, you do not have cash in the bank. Okay. You need to make sure you are investing in marketing. Marketing is not something that you can sniff at. It is not something that you avoid. It is not something that you cut out of your budget. I need to stress that. Do not cut marketing. When you are trying to reduce your expenses in your business, do not cut marketing. Okay. Now, what you do need to be aware of is what marketing channels are the ones that are giving you the strongest return on investment. You need to evaluate your expenditure and ensure the funds are allocated to areas that support growth. So you might, in terms of be spending on one particular marketing channel which isn't giving you much fruit. But the other thing is, do bear in mind that marketing is the long game. So, for example, search engine optimization on your website, that is not an overnight thing. So therefore, you need to be investing in it over 6 to 12 months at least to be able to actually start to yield results from it. So if you for example, cut your SEO budget after 1 month because you think it's not working, well, it won't be working by that point. You've not given it enough time. And do bear in mind that marketing also requires plenty of testing and measuring. Okay. Now, another critical component of budgeting is tax planning. Many business owners completely underestimate their tax liabilities. I've been in that boat before, okay? So that then leads to last minute stress. When you get to that point where your accountant tells you how much your income tax is, how much your corporation taxes, at your VAT bill every quarter, and you're not prepared for it, okay? Whereas if you're setting aside money regularly for taxes, it ensures you're remaining compliant and avoiding cash flow disruptions, right? Now, one key way in which you can do that is using the profit first principles, where you literally have pots and you put a percentage of money away. If you want to find out more about profit first, then please do reach out to me, okay? Often an overlooked aspect of budgeting is actually also building that cash reserve, and this ties back into the profit first principles that I was just talking about. Service-based businesses may not have to worry about equipment breakdowns, but unexpected financial shocks such as delayed client payments, contract losses, or market downturns can still pose risks, okay? We need to make sure that in business we are managing those risks. There are risks, you can't avoid them, but you should have a risk management policy which helps you to manage that. And one way in which you can do that is by setting aside 3 to 6 months worth of operating expenses to be able to provide a financial buffer. That ensures stability during those unforeseen challenges. Okay, so let's talk about some of the common budgeting mistakes that you need to avoid, okay? The first thing is overlooking those small expenses. Minor costs may seem insignificant, but over time they can add up and can drain resources. You need to be aware of every expense that is coming out of your bank. How often are you sitting and actually going through the bank statement and seeing what is coming out of the bank and what is absolutely essential? You know, for example, I was paying, it was £8 for access to a membership. I wasn't using the membership. So yes, it's only £8 a month. However, that is still nearly £100 in a year that I'm spending out that potentially I don't need to be. So just be aware of those small expenses and make sure that you are regularly evaluating the bank statements and just making sure that you know exactly what's coming out and whether you actually really need it. Another mistake is setting revenue targets that are too low. I touched upon this earlier. While being overly optimistic can lead to overspending, setting high but achievable goals can push your business to perform better. Aiming for greater income encourages strategic decision making and drives higher levels of success. So it is far better to be able to push yourself in terms of your income targets than underestimate, okay? Also, focusing solely on revenue growth without considering your profit margins is another common misstep. Obviously, you always want to be increasing your turnover, but that doesn't always equate to higher profitability. A strong budget should prioritize improving those margins, not just expanding on sales. So do you know in your business the service that you provide which is the highest in terms of your profit margins? Now, sometimes you will have, if you use the value ladder principle, which I highly recommend, you will have potentially ones on the value ladder at the bottom end, which might even be classed as loss leaders. I know when I ran the law firm, one of the biggest loss leaders we used to do was wills, right? Because we would hope that, in terms of drafting the will, the probate would then come to us in the future. That's why we drafted it, okay? Now, you will probably have a loss leader in your business, but you're not going to do lots of those in terms of for the purposes of profit. But you need to be aware of what are the services that you offer that are your high profit, and making sure that they are the key services that you are promoting, okay? Failing also to regularly monitor your budget performance is another issue. A budget isn't a one-time document. Now, this is what happens often with business plans, marketing plans, all of these types of documents, is it's drafted once. And obviously your budget is something you may well draft as part of your business plan, and you should have a budget with your business plan, but it needs to be regularly reviewed. You need to be making sure that you are staying on target and that your actual projections, are they in line with what you're actually spending, okay? And it means then you can ensure that you can make any necessary adjustments so you are staying aligned with your financial goals. As your business evolves, so does your financial needs. Your budget must adapt to reflect new costs, revenue streams, or strategic shifts. So it's important those regular reviews help ensure that your financial planning remains relevant and effective, okay? As I said, budgeting isn't about restriction, it's about control. A well-structured budget ensures that your business remains financially stable while paving the way for growth and profitability. By tracking those expenses, planning for your taxes, maintaining a cash reserve, and regularly reviewing your financial performance, you will gain the confidence to be able to make those strategic decisions that support your long-term success. Now, one of the things that I do that I think is really important for businesses is I do a real deep dive evaluation of your business to see where your strengths and where your weaknesses are. So if you feel like, for example, your financials might be one of the areas in which are one of your weaker areas, or your marketing, or any other aspect of your business, it's something that we can really go deep on. And this is called our business MOT. The business MOT, we literally consider everything from, have you got a business plan? If you have, we review it. We review your services and your pricing. We look at your financial position. We look at how it can potentially be improved. We look at your marketing, what's working, what's not. Do you have a marketing plan? Have you really nailed your ideal client? Looking at your sales, what's your customer journey? Have you got a tight sales process? Do you know what your conversion rate is? Are there any challenges that you're having in terms of any mindset shifts you might need to make? That's just some of the things that we touch upon when we do the business MOT. So if you would like us to literally come into your business and do a detailed evaluation of your business, telling you where your strengths and your weaknesses are, because often when you are so close, because ultimately your business is your baby, your business, you are emotionally attached to it, and sometimes you can't always see the wood for the trees, and it's important then to have somebody who can give you an objective opinion, an objective viewpoint that actually really looks at everything as a whole and breaking it down into pieces to see where you can potentially shift your business to be able to reach the goals that you have set for yourself personally and for your business. If this is something you would potentially be interested in doing with me, then all I would ask is that you, on this live, in the comments, just put the word MOT. Now, thank you guys for listening. I really hope you've got some true value. I hope that you can use some of the things that I've suggested, get your budget done. I know that a number of businesses I work with, often their financial year is in line with their tax year. The tax year is not that far away, so now is the time to be really sitting down and considering your budget. And like I said, if you want some help in relation to your budget or any other part of your business, then make sure that you put the word MOT in the comments. Thanks guys for listening, and I will see you all very soon.